Nice. Oh, so much better. All righty. How does that camera look? Does that camera look good?
Does. I don't know if you get closer if it's going to cut off your head.
No, it's fine. We can do a little bit over. I can always zoom in on, say, like edits or anything. But that's perfect. Good. We got a few members in here. And we're going to do trees. So we brought a pot with a bunch of trees in it. And then we have a big pot with a big tree in it. And then we also have a tree that we just pulled out. Actually, you're not going to believe this. I've had this tree sitting out for 6 months. This tree has been sitting out, laying on the ground for 6 months. But that's because April essentially was the start of the rainy season, and it's been able to get watered every day. But this is essentially what like a cutting would be. It did have a root tuber on it already, but say like as a way to kind of get this root tuber a little bit cleaned up. Do I have my little cutters back there? There they are. Yeah, thank you. What I would do to just kind of clean this up a little bit is to get anything that's kind of going up and vertical off. We want to promote the roots to grow downward and to have more of a downward growth. So we're going to just trim any of the roots that are going up or that are on the side. And that will help inspire this to say grow further down here. Look, this one down here, that's brand new. We want to keep that one. That one could form a whole new taproot right there. Let's say like even this one that's coming off to the side, we don't even really need that. And so that way we're inspiring this tree to be much more of a single taproot, which is forming down there, reforming a whole new taproot. So if you break it or crack it or pull it out, just know that it'll form a whole nother tap. And even what I would do, well, right now it's fine because it's already been sitting out. So we talked a little bit about the, the shock. You know, you want to get your tree cleaned up so that way it looks good. And then, like we were talking about how like transplanting a tree, sometimes it goes into shock and it loses all its leaves. So that's why it's good that if this was in a pot, like say this tree back here that's been in a pot, if I pulled that out right now, all of those leaves would be in shock. This has already been growing in this kind of state. So it's already in a stressed, shocked kind of state. But as a way to kind of reset it, get it in a pot or get it in the ground, what I would do is I would find a collar and I'd go at about a 45. I just score around the outside. And then it can snap off pretty easily with just a score. As long as you just score like the outside, it'll snap off really easy. And then that reset is going to help push out all new branches and shoots really short. All right. So we'll get that. And then this could also go in the ground too. And at the time, I can go ahead and even just get it back to here. That could regrow and sprout, and then I could harvest this for greens. So the opportunity that's happening every time you're transplanting or anything is grabbing greens to dry, because that's just constantly adding to your supply.
And also starting new trees to grow your...
And starting new trees. You've got cuttings that are starting new trees. Are we good here? Is this green?
Do you have any trees that you can cut their root for spice?
Yes. So matter of fact, she's asking about the spice.
Moringa spice.
So here's the spice right here.
And it's the root, the whole tree.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just peel that off. you know, you just want to peel the bark off essentially. And then you can chop this into thin pieces
It's like
and then put that in the dry room. That's horseradish.
yeah.
And you want to get it off of a tree. You want to get it off of a tree that doesn't really have like a root, or sorry, a skin on the root. I like to do it when the trees are really soft and they don't really have a root. All right, so just a few more minutes here. I wanted to show you what I do for trees and pots, and how I utilize trees and pots to help make extra income. I sprouted about 50 or so seeds in this pot. I've already pulled out probably 20 or 30. And so in this tree, let's just say we just got an order for trees. We're just going to come in and I'm going to shake it up a little bit and we're going to pull that tuber right out. This is actually what you would want to have as a horseradish if you were really making it, is to just take that. So like for people that grow up north who aren't going to have a winter season, now is their time right now to harvest their whole field to make spice,
Yes.
horseradish spice. But all summer, they've already harvested all summer and they've grabbed hundreds of pounds of greens. These are growers in the north. These are people that are growing in Tennessee or Georgia or, oops, be careful. Is there a nest in there?
I don't know. Just went inside.
Okay.
If it was me, I would have taken it. Like I was psyched.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've already had to bang all the wasp nests that were up here all week. Hopefully I didn't miss any. I mean, there was like 20 under this roof here. So, so this is the spice, and then what we'll do to ship it in the mail is the box that it ships in is about 13 inches. And so now I have another opportunity to harvest some greens. And then this goes in the box, just like this. So I'll wash it off. We send 10 of these trees in the mail with fertilizer and seeds for $50. And so these are really the very simple tools. Like you guys have been able to see, I'm doing everything with just this, that hand cutter, and that saw. But see, oh no, the stem fell off. Oh no, guess what? Put this baby back in the soil and she'll regrow a whole new stem. Once the seed has made a tuber, it's actually hard to kill it because the tuber is the life force, the potential energy, you know, the kinetic energy, the sugars, the starches, the glucose is all stored in the root. Okay, and so we've got our big tree over here. It's actually time to trim up our big tree as well. She's getting kind of lanky. She's getting kind of tall. And so we'll go ahead and even pull out this piece here. Pull this baby off. Now, if I really wanted to, I could bring her back down to here and she'll re-sprout up here. But for just now, the show, like if you had something like this out in your field or something, then this is actually really well structured where everything kind of goes outward. I would even just kind of do what I was talking about before where we have a low one and then possibly another low one, another low one. But see how it creeps? It's a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher. Just a little bit. It's almost like it goes like this. Right? So you have like a little bit of a design to it to where it's sprouting up. So they're all different heights. I don't just come in straight thing. Like, I mean, you ladies, you never really just, you know, put your hair over in a thing and go like this, right? Or you never really go like this and then go like that, right? Sometimes. I've done it before. I know, like with my hair, it's easy. But with the trees, it's that feathering. You know, it's the feathering of it. It's the layering of it, and that's really what you want to create to have that bush. All right, let's go ahead and put one of these babies in a pot with some soil. So I'm just going to grab soil real quick. I'll even grab the wasp pot. What's cool is that they're seeing all of it right now too. They're just seeing me do it all. Everything is all right here. That's the key with creating something efficient, is just having things, you know, close. Everything is really close. So I've got my soil right there. When I first moved in here, the first year I didn't do anything. I just started laying it out on paper, like, because I had already been working in the nursery business for some time. I had worked here already for a couple years at this location as a nursery hand. So I worked here every day after school. I would come here, do a couple hours, and I would just pot up all day. But the owner at the time, he just had the trucks come down and drop soil on the driveway. And I'm like, that's cool, I get it. But he had me to where I could finish that whole driveway in a day and pot up $20,000, $30,000 worth of plants for him in one day. I wanted to kind of change things up a little bit, get the fire pit back here, get the soil back here. The first thing I did when I moved in, before I did anything, was I went ahead and built the greenhouse. So the first year, while I was watching the systems, I went ahead and put the greenhouse up. So here we have our soil. We've got a nice composted soil. It's pretty much filled to the top. And I'm just going to put my finger in there to kind of create a little bit of a hole. And I want to get that pretty much, that bottom piece, that tuber, that taproot, all the way down in there. If it breaks, it's okay, but you want to go ahead and try not to break it. And actually, the secret to potting up is not burying it too far. It's got all of that moisture and sugar and everything in there. You really want to see that tip of the tuber.
Oh, keep that above ground.
Really
Yeah.
tip.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not submerging it. I'm not keeping it low, because it still has 3 or 4 inches down there where it's gathering the moisture. The moisture and everything is really coming up from that taproot that's at the bottom there. So the bottom of the pot is going to stay moist, you know? And a bigger pot, the better. I have already in my career skipped 1-gallon pots. I don't do 1-gallon pots anymore. I'm going straight from here into 3s, 7s, 15s. Because what I find is the time that it takes for me to just go from there to 1, it's like, it's too quick. They're already out. They're stressing. They're drying out too fast. They need to be fed. They're dying back. They're yellowing back. They're stretching. They're lanking. They need fertilizers. Everything is a lot more work in the 1 gallon. So I skip. I go straight from the, say, like 15 gallon with 50 into, say, like a 3 gallon or a 7. But yeah, we really just wanted to cover greenhouse. Oh, let's plant some seeds.
Yeah.
Let's plant some seeds. Let's do the microgreens kit. Would you be willing to grab me a bag of the 1,000 that's just right there on the shelf? The big 1,000 bag. Seeds. Okay. Here I have a microgreens kit that I had several hundred trees in, but it was in a low, wet spot down here, and all summer long, a lot of them died, but looks like I got a couple out of it. So we'll pull this out. I wonder if I have another little table. Can I steal that table from you? I know it's heavy. Oh, is that coming off too? Everything's breaking out here. That's just Florida. It's all right. Okay, it looks like we need a screw there or something. Oh, it looks like the little clip fell out. Oh, there it is. We'll just do it right here and now. I think that's the secret. All right, it's fixed. So we've got our little microgreens kit here. And I didn't get to it in time. You know, I had 100 trees in here. There was 100 trees in each one of these, and this was full and stacked. And I remember there was a moment, you know, early to midsummer where I was like, I need to get those out. And I had them on the ground because it started off dry, right? So I had them on the ground. So that way, every time it did rain, it stayed moist. And then it got too wet, and I kept them in that spot essentially all summer. And so now a lot of the stuff that was in here ended up dying. But it looks like we've got 3 or 4 or even 5 or so. Let's see what tubers we have in here. So we'll dump that out. And what you could do to kind of like, you know, just let it dry out, wash it out. It's good to just give it a little reset because there might be mold or bacteria or something in there. But yeah, we've got nice little ball tubes because it was in a shallow tray. So the tubers never really got to be like a fully long, nice tuber. They're actually a little short and bulbous, right? So what we'll do here is even cut this back, and we'll go ahead and get that in a pot, in its own pot. We could harvest that or compost that, but essentially that's what we have now is the ability to now have that next stage. All that you're doing is just constantly now having a flow and you're staging through everything. You know, you're starting a couple 100 trees in the fall. You're caring for them over the winter. Then you're bringing them out in the spring. But at the same time, in the spring, you're planting a couple 100 more. And it's about having that flow. Because if you want to make $10,000 in a month, you've got to sell $10,000 worth of trees. Well, then if you want to sell 10,000 next month, you'll have to have done the same thing. And you got to keep kind of that thing. And you got to keep yourself just on that time where it's like, no one's going to tell you. No one's going to tell you what to do. And that's, I think, the toughest part of transitioning from say working for someone and then going to that working for yourself kind of mindset. Oh, see, like this one, I had the tray with no holes there, but look at the roots down there. This is full of water. There's also a slug in there. So we'll pull that out. See, this is the tray with holes. This is an awesome tray. We have these microgreens kits on the website. And look, it created pretty much a whole entire bed of soil with roots in it. So if we separate this out, oh, we've got some tubers there, some nice little ball tubers there. It's all right, we'll cut them back. Just cut them back. And that just helps to reset it. It goes into a little bit of a dormant state. You know, the leaves are already going to go into shock. They're going to drop. They're going to fall off. All right, next step is, would you be willing to hand me that rag that's up there on that tin? I'm a pretty boy farmer. I wear the white tees. I stay clean. I go through 3 or 4 or 5 shirts a day, white tees. I just always wanted to be have that difference. You know, I look at all the plant people and they're all natural. You know, but I still like a little bit of, you know, modern look. So I'll still get my teeth done.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some soil and we've got some seeds. So here, this is our standard pack of 1,000 seeds. And this shirt is from a local band. It's actually Air and Soul is a local band. They're permies, they're hippies too. And so we've got 1,000 seeds in here. And what we'll do is we'll put about 100. Actually, that probably would be better just to show. There is a 20 seed and then 100 seed. She's going to grab us 100 seed just to show that you can put 100 seeds in this tray. Were there any questions? I know there was a few things that we were talking about that we wanted to bring up on camera. What was that last one that we were talking about?
Oh, the stems when they sprout, the different colors.
Oh, yes. He was talking about the red stem versus the green stem. So there's 13 varieties of moringa around the world, one of which was taken to India, and they took that to the max. And that's what we have is Moringa oleifera, which is the Indian variety. But they all originated in Africa. So all 13 of them are from Africa. But supposedly Jesus took it to India. Or the yogis of the tribe, of the Nazari tribe, or the traveling tribes of Africa and Jerusalem and all those places there were traveling to India as like a Mecca, to reach enlightenment. Those were those years that were, say, undocumented, right? Well, I'd like to think that Moringa during that time was being taken and traveled to India from Africa, as well as many, many other things. And so with that, they're also within the oleifera, they began to spread and go to different islands in different places that had different angles of light. And then they developed mutations, and they built out stems that were more red or stems that were more green. Hey, welcome. Yeah, you got the right place. We're just finishing up the trees and the seeds in the greenhouse one. You're more than welcome to ask any questions. And we're going to take 100 seeds. So this is 100 seeds. And we're just going to go ahead, for the sake of the demonstration, get the soil back in here. Let's just say we soaked these overnight. So a big thing that you want to do is take the fertilizer and soak it overnight. In the biostimulant. That way it's inoculated. That's called inoculation. So you would just want to inoculate them overnight, about 24 hours or so. Just soak it in the biostimulant. And so then we've got our tray with some soil in it. And you can just put the 100 seeds in there like that. And so now we've got 100 seeds, and we'll just spread them out on a table. So how to sprout 100 seeds in a small space. And what's really good, honestly, is like as wet as this is and as anaerobic as it might be, as soon as it dries out a little bit, it bounces back really quickly. It's the same thing with the fertilizer in the bottle. It's in an anaerobic state. It has a lid on it. It's closed. But under the microscope, they're alive. Well, how are they alive in there? Well, we've given it a little bit of sugar, a little bit of food, a little bit of sustenance, to keep it in that concentrated, suspended state. And then as soon as you open it and you add water to it, then they get to spread out, they multiply, and then you can essentially put that liquid extract solution as a watering method, like every other week or so. You just want to water with the extract or the fertilizer about every 2 weeks. But look how I'm just covering it up, a small layer of soil over top of it, and that's it. I'll set that aside, and right now, this time of year, it'll sprout within 6 days. And I kind of keep the seeds a little bit at the surface. The trick or the tip is, I get this question a lot, is how deep do I plant the seed? And the rule is as deep as the seed is big. So in this case, the seed is about the size of the pinky, so I usually do it about the the first knuckle, which is about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, right? So they're about the size of that first joint, and I usually just put them about that deep. Right? Where'd I put that rag?
Oh, it's right here on the other side of the table.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Were there any other questions that we had for greenhouse, seeds, potting? I could give you a quick little tip with the seed orientation. There's a flat end and a tapered end. So there's a top and a bottom. So you've got the wings. There's wings on there. You can peel that off. When the wings are peeled off, that symbolizes that it's tumbled or on the ground and it's ready to sprout. So the sooner that you pull the wings off, the sooner the tree's like, okay, we're ready to sprout. Because the wings help it to flow in the wind. And then when the wings are done, it's stopped. It's like, okay, that's where we're at. That's our spot. There's a flat end. There's a flat piece. And then there's a tapered piece. You can tell that that's the tapered, and then you can kind of tell the flat. You can see it. The flat has a little bit more thickness to it, while the tapered comes down. It looks like a Spartan helmet from the front. It's also the flux capacitor. So the root is going to come out the flat end towards the bottom, and the shoot is going to come out the flat end towards the top. If you plant it like that, where the flat end, it's just going to be exposing the root. If you plant it upside down, then it's like the shoot has got to go all the way. So I do like to have it flat like that, to where I grab it. The flat end,
Side to side.
yeah, it's more like horizontal. And even deeper than that is feng shui and the orientation of the way that you sleep. You want to have your head, say, like in the north or in the east. So what I like to do is I like to position the flat end towards like the east or the north, or towards that direction, because that sun is coming up in the east, and that's waking this up. That electromagnetic energy is waking that root up and that shoot up. And so I usually put the flat end towards the east. If I'm doing it, especially like in the wintertime, where it's going to be a little bit harder to sprout, in the summertime you can just kind of like broadcast, right?
Is this just for the germination stuff?
Yeah, this is just for that extermination. Like if you only have one seed and you need it to grow, then I would have it with the flat end facing east, flat like that with the ridge up top. It doesn't matter which ridge is up top, just put a ridge up top with the flat going east. And that's going to help you out a lot. Now, another thing is that people are also opening this shell up, and they're sprouting that little inner white piece in the paper towel. Ooh, look at that. In the paper towel. And it's sprouting in the paper towel, or they're putting it in the soil and it's sprouting.
Does it sprout any quicker if you do that?
You see the oil?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. They say that it
And I just ate it.
Yeah.
in the
Take the
members
shell
area.
Woo! In the Bible, it's the bitter seed that turns sweet with water. And that's what the moringa is in the Bible. All right, team. Well, we're going to go ahead and head out of this one, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes or so with our next one. Thanks, Don, for coming back. We'll be right back. We just did greenhouse, trees, and seeds, but we'll have all these recordings for you in the members area soon. Thanks for coming back. We'll be back in about 20, 30 minutes.